Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. I'm your host VGMKoren, and in the last one we killed the moonlit butterfly, got an ember, gave it to the blacksmith, and talked a little bit about weapon enhancement and weapon reinforcement and all of those good things. We also spent forever killing that butterfly because it had a lot of HP. It had a lot more than I thought it did for this point in the game, but maybe I'm just not dealing enough damage. So clearly I should pump my damage stats from now on. No, that's not what I'm going to do. In this one, I'm going to go back into Darkroot Basin, obviously, and go ahead and go down the path that I snubbed on the first time around, which is, okay, so actually, cool thing. That was someone using was someone kindling the bonfire. Actually, that is something I meant to do at the start of this episode, come to think of it. When someone else kindles the bonfire in an area near you, and they're technically connected to you, kind of, through this great system called Windows Live. No, it's not great at all. But when that happens, you will get an extra use of your Estus Flask for this run. And I'm not sure how long exactly it lasts, but long enough to where, well, it'll last for until you use it, essentially. There you go. I'm not sure resting at the bonfire will refresh it, but hopefully I won't have to find out because we are just going to go winding down this path. So that's a cool thing. Those and the messages are something that make Dark Souls a very interactive type of game. Now, usually there would be an item on the platform I jumped to, but my recording crashed the first time I did this, so I just went ahead and went back. I don't think it was anything important. Oh wait, it was leather armor. That's what it was. It's not something I'll ever use. So here we have a winding hairpin path, and oh hey, it's a Black Knight. And also one of the weakest of the Black Knights. At this point, you will actually not need to fear the Black Knights near as much as you used to. Whoops. Hey, buddy. I hope that didn't hurt. Too bad. Yes, I do. Regardless, this Black Knight uses a halberd, which doesn't do very much damage to your stamina if you choose to block his attacks. And that is pretty much his deal. And he misses occasionally because, well, he's using a halberd, and the AI is just not very good with weapons that aren't sweeping weapons. They're very mediocre with jabbing weapons at best. Of course, the difficulty from this fight really comes out of the place you're fighting him on, because you don't have any kind of room to get around him and to do any flashy backstabs. I got one off on him and knocked him down, but that's not going to happen again, probably. So at this point, oh hey, and it happens. Great. Oh, and that killed him, and I got the Black Knight halberd. Oh my god, I've never gotten that before. I need to look at it right now. Oh, look at it. It requires so much strength. I'm never going to use it this playthrough. It's kind of sad, actually. Anyways, oh, that was a fun little music change for a second there. Here we have a Grass Crest Shield, which I believe is actually extremely effective against magic. I think that's kind of its claim to fame there. And a completely different sound. Yeah, 42 resistance to magic, but it doesn't completely block physical hits. And here we have a bonfire that is kind of a halfway point. We're not going to go over there yet. Oh, okay, actually, yeah, I'll show what's over here, but then I'm going to turn and run away because this area is far higher level than... Oh, no. It's going to require me to pull too many levers. The levers will not win. I will say, however, when we come back to an area where we can use that. Actually, this is a great bonfire for another point in the game where, well, maybe. Regardless, we'll be back to that bonfire later. And I'll show more of it off then. Anyway, With the Black Knight dead and a halberd in hand, you can head over this way and find even more challenges and bosses and things that you could completely ignore and never really have to come back and do. This is another thing that makes Dark Souls a really interesting game, is just how many optional areas there are. Now, you can argue about how optional it is, considering you need experience desperately at this point in the game, and by experience I do mean souls. And they're giant crystal guys. I mean, who doesn't want to fight a giant crystal guy who's too stupid to figure out he can't get back up there? I want to do that. Now, clearly... Okay, yeah, stabbing is the way to go against these guys. I just don't like stabbing because stabbing is difficult. I feel bad about doing anything cheesy like this. Perfect. This makes me feel way better about myself. So, like a lot of enemies at this point in the game, you're not going to deal a whole lot of damage to them. This area is technically a little bit higher level than what I should be right now. And despite that special death animation, these enemies will respawn when they die. Though, usually... Oh, God. Alright, and that is the boss of this area. Unlike other bosses, this area boss is not, in fact, blocked off by a fog wall, and can and will assault you constantly. And actually, he's not even technically a boss. There's no "you've defeated him" at the end of it, but he's essentially a bonus boss, at least for this area. As you can see, those massive water spouts will do huge damage, and really the best thing you can do is try and hide. Great, huh? Okay, so, you might wonder, never mind, I'll just die instead. I'll see you when I get back there. Okay, I have my souls, and you might be wondering, if that boss can one-shot you now, how are you going to defeat it running up to it with all of 2 Estus flasks? Well, thankfully, once you actually get up to this boss, he's not a problem at all, because he is in fact a gigantic Hydra who wants to murder you. And once you get close enough, and as you can see, there's a line there. Do not cross that line in the water, or you will die. Likewise, once you get close enough, he will just surge at you. And at this point, you can stab him, and thus begins a very, very repetitive section of the game where, oh god, it's a giant... No. Oh, this is really bad. Okay. Great. What am I going to do? Okay, so this is something that I've never actually had to deal with personally, but yes, if you don't kill all the crystal golems in this area, they can get on you and potentially murder your face off. And because you're in the water, your movement speed will be massively slowed. Oh, I hate everything about that. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad, and we can go back to start stabbing the Hydra in its head. Now, thankfully, as you can see, the Hydra isn't really even a boss at this point. The only danger it really poses to you is when you're far enough away for it to shoot water spouts from, but otherwise it won't even really hit you with its heads. And even if it does, you can almost always get away with blocking it. And of course, the more you damage it, the more the heads will come off, which is a nice... You stupid son of a... I would have sworn so much. This is another thing about Dark Souls. Kill the ads. Kill them before they get you destroyed. Unfortunately, the thing about this boss is that it can be very hard to kill him after a certain point because you actually have to get close enough to his heads, but his heads attack in a very specific pattern. So what you want to do is keep focusing him and find the point where his heads are and then stab them. Did that sound logical at all? I'm pretty sure it sounded ridiculous in my head. You can usually get 1 or 2 stabs off. Again, oh, If he doesn't attack for a few seconds, that means he's going, or roar, that is, it means he's going to use his water blast attack. And if he uses that and it hits you, you're dead. Just, that's how it's going to be. This will usually happen once you have to run back to hit the heads at all. Now, I don't believe you actually have to kill all the heads to kill the Hydra, but it really depends on your damage. So if you do more damage, you'll have to kill less heads before it actually just keels over. Alternatively, I could be full of crap because that head died in one stab, you know. And here you have Knight Armor, which we already have, so we could sell that if there was a sell function in this game. There is, it's just not very useful, let's be honest, Dark Souls players. I hate everything about this fight. Mostly because I have walked over the edge of this fight more times than I'm really willing to admit. And of course, stop facing through the wall, please. That would be just great. Jumping attack? Miss. Complete whiff. Alright. Oh good, he's still going to attack me, but as you can see, the Hydra turns with you, so because of that, it can be very difficult to get him to actually throw the heads you need to kill at you, because they're just scripted to go the other way. But eventually, you'll be able to get him. It's an odd fight. I never really remember this fight for being so clunky, but there you go. Oh hey, he only has those two heads left. So what we should do is bring them over here. And then see about jump striking them. Alright. If you can get them up on land, that's probably where you're going to be best off trying to stab the heads. Because in the water, you just will not be able to control them. So for the last couple, once the danger of getting water spouted is down, that should be your general strategy. And yes, the water spouts all do damage to you. So what that means is that the less heads there are, the less dangerous that attack actually is. It's kind of like a shotgun. A shotgun of snake. It's not something anyone wants, ever. Oh my god, I hate you so damn much. Would you just... Okay, he's going to shoot water at me, which completely misses because those are the only two heads alive. And there are times I wonder, should I skip when boss fights become ridiculous like this? Okay, there is something I could do to make this potentially easier on myself. And that, oh my god, I cannot hit him for some reason. What I'm about to do is not something I ever suggest doing. If you can't hit an enemy because, for whatever reason, you're just not fast enough, you can always take off your armor and move around at a much faster pace. Once you're moving fast, you should be able to get right up in that dragon and still miss it completely. Ha ha ha! I stabbed you, you bitch! I hate this Hydra. The other Hydra in the game... Oh wait, spoilers. That's totally what I meant. There's totally not another Hydra in the game. That is completely optional. Oh my god. What if I just go after that one? Okay, that one doesn't even stay long enough for me to really hit at. Maybe if I draw him further over to the left, then I'll be able to get something done. Maybe? I don't know. Yes! Okay, this is something that I should have thought about sooner. Depending on where you're standing determines where the heads will actually go. Oh... That makes this way easier than I was trying to make it. I just spent like 5 minutes taking off my armor and looking like an idiot for nothing. Aside from your enjoyment. Okay, come on. You know you want to send that giant head at me. You know you want to. I'm not walking off the edge for you. Okay, even further to the left. Maybe. Even further to the left. At some point, this has got to work. Otherwise, I may have to take my pants off. I'm not sure anyone wants that. Okay. Okay, I think we might actually be able to get him with a stab now that he's turned so far to the side. But we'll see. Oh, now he's over there. Well, that seems reasonable. Please stay over there. Yay! Oh god, no, no, no. If I had fallen off there, I probably would have rage quit this recording, I'll be honest. Okay! Once you kill all of the Hydra skulls, regardless of whether you've taken all of its HP off or not, it will die. It will also give you a dragon scale and a dusk ring. Let's go ahead and pull up what that does right now. Grants extra sorcery castings, but halves your HP. That seems like just the worst thing. Actually, Dark Souls of the Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2 trilogy, or whatever you want to call it, is without a doubt the most forgiving of the games. In Demon Souls, when you die, you lose half your maximum HP, and you don't get it back until you kill a boss or do something else. I'm pretty sure. I've actually never played Demon Souls. You know, I know I'm a horrible person for saying that and for doing it, but there you have it. And over here, we should have another enemy pop up anytime now. Oh wait, do I actually have to leave the area and come back for this enemy to spawn? I think I might. Unless I went the wrong way, but... Oh wait, There's supposed to be a pink golem somewhere around here, but I might not be in the right place, as is the way of Dark Souls. Or it might be that you have to come back later on, which, if that is the case, then I definitely will come back, because there's something here that we will eventually need to get to progress through the game. Yes, all the way over here. This is actually the way you get to the DLC of the game, which is absurd in and of itself, but there you have it. It might actually be behind that waterfall. I don't remember. Comment down below if you remember where the pink golem is. That way I stop looking like a moron. Is there land here? Yes. Okay, I'm pretty sure at this point that the pink golem will spawn after you use a bonfire and come back to this area. So yes, Dark Souls is filled with obtuse things like that, and I will show that off, but not yet. There's actually still something I want to do in this episode, and that is to show off yet another fine contender for something that will smash my face in mercilessly. Hooray! As I was saying about Dark Souls 2, and Demon Souls, though, in Dark Souls 2, every time you die, you lose 10% of your maximum HP down to 50%, and you can restore it with a very limited number of items in the game. So, with that in mind, Dark Souls is actually the most forgiving of them. However, Dark Souls is also the meanest of all of them. This is Havel. Havel is a jerk. Havel is a giant dragon tooth wielding warrior in the heaviest armor in the game, and he also acts like that. As you can see, I actually do have just enough stamina to block his attacks, but he is a critical enemy to take out because he offers what is, in my opinion, one of the best items in the game for new players to pick up. And as soon as you can kill him, and as I'm demonstrating here, it's extremely easy to do. Maybe not at the very beginning of the game, but after you've killed a couple of bosses, at this point you should be able to take him out pretty much without issue. Just walk around him, backstab him. Don't really go for the big hits. If he actually manages to hit you, you will take just an extreme amount of damage. And that is kind of where Dark Souls has difficulty, is that it is very willing to one-shot you, especially if you're in a place where you might not necessarily need to be. Yes, yes, you have a giant mace. We're all so proud of you. Oh, and yes, you can actually stagger him, and for all the good it did me, which was none. This is where Dark Souls gets slightly more ridiculous in that you can backstab someone just over and over, impale them on your sword, and for some reason, they just don't die. Just kind of the nature of having a stat-based game, but it is certainly a little bit sillier than the one-hit, one-kill combat you see at the very beginning of the game. And with one more backstab, Havel should go down. Actually, I was expecting this to go the other way. I was expecting to have no problem on the Hydra, but to die to Havel, or at least take damage from Havel. But, well, I guess that's just how it goes. Once you kill him, though, as I said, he drops the best ring in the game for new players. It's Havel's ring, and that's how you know his name is Havel. So I'm going to replace the blue Tearstone ring, and what Havel's ring actually does is it doubles your equipment load, which means that I can now roll with a decent amount of speed. My movement speed is increased, my ability to sprint is vastly increased, and for the rest of the game I will be able to essentially move as though I wasn't wearing the heavy armor that I am, or at least the semi-heavy armor. Now, you might have noticed by the gigantic floating text that we have made it all the way in a giant circle back to Undead Berg. And nothing here stands a chance of killing you anymore. So yeah, this is the point of the game where, once again, everything interconnects. And it's amazing. Unfortunately, I do have to go back to the blacksmith because I wasn't thinking about this, but I never actually bought the repair or upgrade boxes. And that was stupid. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Really, really stupid. But yeah, at this point in the game, you should be able to essentially just waltz your way through here. It is still Dark Souls. Don't get too overconfident like I'm on the verge of doing, but there you have it. And this will actually take us straight to the next area we need to go to, because you might be wondering again, where do I go at this point in the game? And we'll figure that out, but probably in the next one. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and kill that pink golem. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rest at this bonfire, and I'm going to run back to the tower and past Havel, and I'm going to go ahead and find that pink golem, then go to the blacksmith, buy the items that I really should have bought, and yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, also, as you can see, if you're feeling like you have a death wish, you can sprint through hordes of enemies once you have a fast enough movement speed by having a good stamina rating. This is not necessarily advised, ever. You'll probably die a couple of times trying it, but it can be helpful. Try stabbing in the back. That's exactly what I did. Alright, so I will meet you back by where I killed the Hydra. And here we are back by the rushing waterfall that I hate and everything else that I hate. It's always really interesting to me that you have to go rest at a bonfire before this character will spawn, because this is a very important NPC, especially now that... oh, is it over there? I think it might be. No, that's just someone's words. I'm not sure why anyone would ever think to come back to this place. I certainly didn't my first time. This was... Dark Souls, as I've always said, is a very guide, damn it, kind of game. I always just really encourage playing it blind your first time through, but if you want to know any of the secrets or how to access pretty much any of the bonus content, you're going to need a guide or just a really good sense of I need to backtrack every single time I go through an area. So, okay, this golem is not pink, it is gold. My bad. It is also a special golem, and then that, words, in that is a little bit more tanky than the others, and deals a little bit more damage. And while I was fighting them, I discovered that using two-handed strikes was, as usual, just way more effective, and I don't know why I didn't do that against the Hydra. Don't hurt me. As you can see, my roll is now vastly improved to the point where I can roll through attacks. This is very important for surviving in Dark Souls. If you don't think you're going to have the stamina to block an attack, or if it's going to be an attack that, well, stamina just, you know, blocking just isn't going to be that great on. As I said before, you have invincibility frames during your roll, and the lighter you roll, the more frames you have. The best roll comes in at minus 25% of your armor rate. So that is the goal we will aim from. Actually, that's not necessarily true. There is a secret ring, which gives an even better roll than that. I haven't decided if I'm going to try and get that, because it's hard to make room for rings. And as you can see, a princess falls right out of the golem. Because that's a normal thing to happen.
So, 'tis thou who rescued me. Most gracious, I am deeply obliged. I am Dusk of Ulasil. I cometh from an age long before thine. I cannot stay here for long. So, before I disappear, allow me to ask one thing. My home, Ulasil, is the home of ancient sorceries. My hope is to pass this profound knowledge to thee, with thine approval. Would this be of assistance to thee?
Yes.
My heartfelt thanks. I am pleased beyond words. Then I shout, engrave my signature. If thou art in need, pray summon me from my signature. It seems that my time is done. May the great flames guide thee.
And she despawns. You can actually come back here once again if you reset the bonfire again, and she will teach you some fairly useful sorceries. And by useful, I mean very, very just kind of peripheral and floaty and not necessarily that good sorceries. But she will teach them to you. And I haven't talked about sorceries much, but I will do that in the next episode, because for now, I'm going to cut, and I will see you when I make it to the blacksmith. One incident with a tree later, I am back at the blacksmith, and I'm going to buy the very important items that I forgot to buy last time. Okay, so this will let me reinforce weapons at a bonfire, very important. This will let me reinforce armor at a bonfire, very important. And this will let me repair. Did I just say repair to every single time? I meant reinforce. Wow, that was worth the wait for you, wasn't it? This will let me repair everything, which is even more important. This crest opens the sealed door we found in this forest, but it costs 20,000 souls, which we don't have. No. Yeah. Alright, and now that I've run all the way back around the map, I am going to go ahead and use a homeward bone to teleport back to the last bonfire I rested at, which happens to be the one in Undead Burg. This is one of the best uses for homeward bones, is to cut back on the backtracking that you may end up finding yourself having to do. Okay, so that's going to be it for this episode for progress, but I'm going to go ahead and use my souls in order to get a couple of levels and end this video. It's been a long one, but that's part of just the nature of Dark Souls, is having very long 30-minute treks out into the wilderness and getting murdered, and that's, you know, if you're actually somewhat decent at playing the game. Oh god, that was a subtle brag and I hate myself for it. So, let's just ignore it and go to leveling up. Wow, my dexterity and strength are 14 and 15. I really left this open for myself to swap over to a strength build. That's an interesting idea. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and put 3 points into dexterity and gain 12 points off of attack, which is just going to be so useful considering I'm dealing no damage. So in the next one, we will go to the next major area in the game, and I will actually show off what kindling and reversing hollowing is like. And then I will proceed to get my face beaten in by a boss that always manages to kill me at least 3 times. So, I hope to see you then.